Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're looking at a new Pokemon tool card that is, I feel comfortable saying, frankly ridiculous. Now, it is coming out in Altered Genesis over in Japan, Cosmic Eclipse over here. It has been translated by the lovely Antoine Boulay, and it's a Pokemon tool card that reads: the Pokemon EX or Pokemon GX this card is attached to has its maximum HP reduced by 100. Seems a bit rubbish. When it is KO'd by damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack, your opponent takes one fewer prize card. Oh. Yeah, that's a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen. That's a little bit better. It is a way of giving up one less prize when your opponent takes a KO. Now, you have to knock 100 off of your maximum HP to do it, which is incredibly risky, and there are ways around it, but make no mistake about it, this is just a great, great card, if used correctly. And we should probably start off having a look at the fact that it is a Pokemon tool in the 2019 to 2020 format. You know, that format that doesn't have Field Blower. Now, of course, we still have Faber, but Faber's a supporter card. Faber will Lost Zone this, but how many decks are really playing Faber? And if decks are playing Faber, how many of them do you really think are playing multiple Faber? The reality is, at the World Championships, I pointed out, or when I was making videos about Worlds, I pointed out how we don't have Field Blower, and a bunch of people said, yeah, we've still got Faber, and I agree. But who's playing Faber? Now, the one thing we do have at the moment is Lysander Labs. Lysander Labs is a stadium card, which basically means that Pokemon tools do nothing. That will stop this. That is potentially a little bit of a problem here. The fact that this literally just turns it off, so that you do have your HP, but you do give up another prize. And your opponent is going to want to manipulate this. If you try playing this tool, your opponent is going to want to try and manipulate this. They are going to want you to have low HP when they can't get a bigger KO, and they are going to want you to have high HP when they want to take extra prizes. That is what they're going to be trying to do. It's kind of cool, isn't it? It's kind of cool, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very awkward card, but I think it's a very skill-intensive card. This is going to be good or bad for either player, and it's going to be alternating. Either you want the high HP to protect yourself, or you want the low HP so you don't give up an extra prize, or on the other side of the board, you want the low HP so you can take a KO, or you want the high HP so you can take an extra prize. It really is a very interesting card because there's so many different ways that this can actually go. I adore this card. Lysander Labs may well end up seeing more play because of this card. Now, one other thing before we get into some examples. It is KO'd by damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack. Which means that if you can play, say, Shrine of Punishment, you do get the 10 damage between turns, because they're a GX. They do not get the extra 100 HP because this is attached, but you do take all the prizes. So if you KO using Shrine of Punishment or incidentally Poison, Burn, Confusion Flip, dropping damage counters, etc. Think of that Volcarona GX I showed you yesterday. If you can get a KO in any other way along those lines, you still get to KO them with 100 less damage, but you get to take the right amount of prizes. So again, this is going to be extremely difficult to play correctly. Because if you put this on a Pokemon and your opponent can take a KO other than by with damage from an attack, you're literally just taking 100 HP off and doing nothing else. Okay, so with that all borne in mind, let's go through some examples. How about we take a little bit of a look at Blacephalon against Reshiram and Charizard. Reshiram and Charizard, generally speaking, attaches 4 energy and does 230 damage. Yeah, sure, they've got Outrage, But Outrage only does 30 damage unless they've got any damage on them, which, as a Blacephalon player, you'll just make sure that they don't. Cool. And the reason Blacephalon is such a good example here is because Blacephalon's got the rather good Mind Blown attack, whereby you lost zone as many fire energy as you like from the field, doing 50 damage for each one lost zoned. And you get the energy on using stuff like Naganadel, B-String, Welder, you got a bunch of options. So you sit there getting one-hit KOs on Reshiram and Charizard. You're getting one-hit KOs anyway. They are gonna one-hit KO you. If you've got 180 HP, they're going to get a one-hit KO either with Flare Strike or Double Blaze. They won't get a KO with Outrage. If you've got 80 HP, they're going to get a one-hit KO with Flare Strike or Double Blaze. They won't get a one-hit KO with Outrage. Doesn't matter how much HP you've got, 180 or 80, they're getting a one-hit KO. Cool. But now, instead of giving up 2 prizes to their free, you give up 1 prize to their free. And it's very unlikely that Reshiram and Charizard players are going to be playing Lysander Labs, because they're going to really want to play Giant Half, and they're also probably going to want to play a Heat Factory Prism Star, and they can only play so many stadiums. They might play it, but I think it's fairly unlikely that they will. So now all of a sudden, you're just taking a prize off the table. They're getting a one-hit KO anyway. Now, if you take Blacephalon GX against something like Pikachu and Zekrom, then it's a whole different ballgame. Pikachu and Zekrom generally hits for 150, and you've got 180. But if you put an Island Challenge Amulet on, then you've only got 80, and they'll get an easy one-hit KO with full Blitz. And, okay, they could always use an Electro Power, but now they can save that for something else. So now, all of a sudden, you're forcing your opponent to use non-GX attackers. And some of them will. Some of these Reshiram and Charizard decks will play Volcanion, and Volcanion here will be amazing, because Volcanion, if you've got 4 fire energy in play, hits 110, that will be enough. Similarly, Pikachu and Zekrom decks are going to be playing Zapdos, or at least a lot of them will, and you do 80 damage, and you'll get a one-hit KO, and everything will be fine. Wow, for the Pikachu and Zekrom player. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. This is one of the weirdest, most specialized, most skill-intensive cards I think we've seen for a while. Decision-making with this card could win or lose you games. If you drop this on a Blacephalon against a Reshiram and Charizard player that doesn't have a good non-GX attacker, you're probably going to win the game. Quite easily. If you drop this on a Blacephalon against one of those Reshiram and Charizard lists playing 4 non-GX Volcanion, yeah, they're probably going to be able to run through you, and they're probably going to have a pretty easy time beating you, and you're going to turn a good matchup into a bad matchup. Incidentally, Pikachu and Zekrom is going to love playing against decks playing this, because generally they're hitting 150 and they've got Electro Power, so if a Reshiram and Charizard ever puts this on, Pikachu and Zekrom with an Electro Power gets a very easy one-hit KO, in a way that they would really struggle to do so otherwise. You can lose a game playing this card. I think for Tag Team GXs, they generally take a bit more investment. You're not going to want to put this on there. But I think there's a bunch of GXs where you probably do. Take something like the new Naganadel, for instance. The one that's got the really nice ability. Your opponent may want to try and use a great catcher to drag it off the bench and KO it, and they still can. You're still a GX. But now you're only giving up 1 prize. You've got 110 HP, you give up 1 prize. But you can still hit 170 damage to the bench. This is a card where you need to look at the matchup. Because remember, at the moment we're in a format where we've got non-GXs that give up 1 prize, GXs that give up 2 prizes, and Tag Team GXs that give up 3 prizes. This is a card which allows you to manipulate the prize race in your favour, turning you into a 1 prize Pokemon rather than 2, or 2 prize Pokemon rather than 3. I adore this. I'm giving this between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I could see this as a gimmicky card that never really sees any play, but by the same token, I could see this as a card which absolutely transforms the format, and things are never the same again after it. It is a card which is extremely difficult to figure out how or how much it is actually going to see play. This could be a phenomenal game-changing card, or it could be a curiosity that we look back on when the rotation happens and go, ooh, oh, that's kind of cool. I see why it didn't see much play. But I'd like to know which side you come down on, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.